$2 million. For most people, that number represents a lifetime of discipline. Early mornings, long shifts, decades of saving a little more than felt comfortable. And somewhere along the way, it became the number, the milestone that was supposed to make everything feel secure. What happens when you actually get there? Here's something I see that surprises a lot of people. Reaching 2 million doesn't always feel the way they imagined. The financial pressure may lift, but something else takes its place. People who worked hard to get here still find themselves hesitating, still delaying the trip, still putting off the renovation, still quietly wondering, is it okay to actually spend this? And here's where it gets interesting. Research shows that many retirees at this level end their retirement with portfolios that are larger than when they started. Not because their investments crushed the market year after year, but because they never quite gave themselves permission to spend. They accumulated everything they needed for a full life, and then held back from living it. And across those conversations, one thing comes up again and again. The biggest retirement challenge isn't always financial. It's knowing when it's okay to start. I'm Mike Worthington, a partner and financial advisor at Stonebridge Financial Group. Today, I want to walk through what the data shows about retirement spending and cover 4 patterns I see that can quietly hold people back, even when their financial picture is stronger than they realize. Because $2 million, structured thoughtfully, could support a very different retirement than most people allow themselves to imagine. Let's put that number in context first. Roughly 4% of US households ever accumulate $2 million in investable assets. Among households where someone is over 60, it rises to about 7%. That's a small group, and yet many people in that group are still running on the default settings. Strategies and approaches built for a much earlier stage of the wealth building journey, including target date funds, one-size-fits-all withdrawal assumptions, and investment portfolios that haven't been revisited in years. Those tools have their place, but at $2 million, the stakes are different. The tax decisions are more complex. The legacy questions matter more. And the cost of staying on autopilot tends to show up slowly, in ways that are easy to miss until they're hard to reverse. Staying on autopilot can create missed opportunities over time. A more integrated approach is one that connects your investments, your tax picture, and your goals. That's often the difference between simply accumulating assets and having a coordinated retirement plan. To make this concrete, let me walk through a hypothetical situation. I'll call her Karen. She's 62 and spent 30 years in a large health system. Her income is around $200,000 per year. She has approximately $1 million saved in her retirement accounts and a $45,000 pension. Lastly, her Social Security benefit, if she waits until full retirement age, is expected to be around $28,000 per year. By almost any measure, Karen is in a solid position. But when I sit down with people like Karen, what I hear isn't confidence. It's questions. Do I have enough? What if the market drops right after I retire? How do I know I won't run out? Those aren't bad questions. They're actually the right questions. But for Karen, they're being driven more by anxiety than by her actual numbers. And that anxiety has a name. It's the same instinct that served her incredibly well for 30 years. The habit of saving more, spending less, and staying cautious. That mindset built her wealth. But in retirement, it can quietly work against her. Researchers have described this as the consumption gap, the distance between what a retirement portfolio could reasonably support and what retirees actually allow themselves to spend. Permission to use it never arrives, and that gap isn't measured in dollars alone. It shows up in trips not taken, time not spent, and experiences set aside for a someday that keeps getting pushed further out. Now, let's look at the research, because the numbers here are worth understanding. Historical market analysis is useful for understanding how retirement strategies have performed under past market conditions, but historical analysis cannot predict future results or guarantee that similar outcomes will occur. Michael Kitces, a widely respected researcher in retirement planning, analyzed more than 150 years of US market data. He looked at every 30-year window using a balanced 60-40 portfolio. His question: what actually happens to retirees who withdraw a consistent, inflation-adjusted amount each year? The findings are striking. Historical research examining diversified portfolios suggests that certain withdrawal rates were sustainable under lengthy retirement periods. Let's bring that back to Karen's situation. Her pension and Social Security cover most needs. A 4% withdrawal adds $40,000. Her total income could be in the range of $110,000 to $115,000 annually before optimization. Based on historical patterns and research, her portfolio could remain intact or even grow. Please note, past performance doesn't guarantee future results. No withdrawal strategy fully eliminates the risk of running out of money. Markets, inflation, and individual circumstances all vary in ways that no historical model can fully predict. But what the research does suggest is this: Karen's numbers may support considerably more confidence than her anxiety is giving her credit for. If you're in a similar spot, getting close to retirement, and you'd like a clearer picture of what your own income could look like, I'd welcome the conversation. There's a link in the description to schedule a complimentary discovery call with my team at Stonebridge. We'll look at your full picture, your savings, your pension, your Social Security, and help you understand where you actually stand. Now, let's get into the 4 patterns I see that can quietly undermine a retirement, even when the foundation looks strong. The first is what I'd call investment complexity creep. As your assets grow, so does the attention from people trying to sell you complex investments, including alternative investments, private placements, structured products with impressive names. The pitch usually sounds something like, "This is what sophisticated investors are doing." But many of these products carry costs and trade-offs that don't get the same airtime as the potential upside. High fees, multi-year lockup periods, limited liquidity when you may need access most. In my experience, the investment approach that helped people build wealth often continues to serve you well in retirement. Transparent, diversified, and built around their actual goals. Before adding complexity to your portfolio, it's worth asking, what does this actually cost? When can I access my money if I need it? And does this fit into my broader plan? Complexity can look like sophistication from the outside, but over longer time horizons, disciplined, evidence-based investing has generally compared favorably to more elaborate alternatives. The second pattern involves RMDs, IRMAA, and tax timing. For many hospital employees, the bulk of retirement savings sits in pre-tax accounts, 403(b)s, traditional IRAs, and pension income. Under current rules, required minimum distributions generally kick in between age 73 and 75, depending on your birth year. When they do, they create taxable income, whether you wanted that income or not. That forced income can also trigger IRMAA, the income-related adjustment to Medicare premiums based on what you earned 2 years prior. It catches people off guard because it's tied to decisions made years before it shows up. Here's the broader context worth keeping in mind. Today's federal tax rates are relatively low compared to historical rates. With the national debt at its current level, there's meaningful uncertainty about where tax policy heads over the next 10 to 20 years. That uncertainty creates a potential window, but it's one that requires careful, individualized analysis. Not every situation calls for the same response. One approach that's worth understanding is Roth conversions, the intentional movement of pre-tax dollars into a Roth account during years when your taxable income is lower than it will be once RMDs begin. For someone like Karen, the gap between her retirement date and age 73 could be a window to manage future tax exposure. Whether that makes sense for her depends on her full tax picture, her other income, and her goals. It's not a universal recommendation, it's a conversation worth having. Another dimension is asset location, being deliberate about which assets sit in which account types. Depending on an investor's circumstances, growth-oriented investments are often considered for Roth accounts because a Roth can compound without future tax drag. Income-generating assets may work better in tax-deferred accounts. And maintaining some liquidity in a taxable account for flexibility. The goal isn't just to reduce taxes this year. It's to reduce them over the course of an entire retirement. And that requires thinking several moves ahead. The third pattern is one of the most important mathematically, and one of the least understood. It's called sequence of returns risk. When you're young, A market downturn is workable. You have time on your side. In retirement, you're withdrawing, and that changes the math significantly. Recover can happen before it affects your plan. In retirement, the same downturn carries a different kind of risk. You're no longer adding, you're withdrawing, and that changes the math significantly. Here's a simple illustration. Take two hypothetical retirees. Let's call them retiree A and retiree B. Both start with $1 million. Both withdraw $40,000 per year. Both average 8% annual returns over 30 years. The only variable is the sequence of those returns. Retiree A hits the down years first, a 10% loss, then 5, then 8, followed by strong returns for the remainder of retirement. Retiree B experiences those same strong returns early, with the losses coming near the end. Same average return, completely different outcomes. After 30 years, retiree A may finish with roughly $1.4 million, while retiree B is closer to $2.9 million. The difference isn't skill or market knowledge. It's simply the order in which the returns arrived. That's sequence of returns risk. And it's a risk that shows up most clearly in the first 5 to 10 years of retirement. One commonly used framework to help manage this is sometimes called the 3-bucket approach. Bucket 1 holds 2 to 3 years of living expenses in cash or short-term, lower volatility assets. Bucket 2 holds income-generating investments designed to cover the following 5 to 7 years. Bucket 3 holds longer-term growth assets intended to compound over a longer time horizon. These buckets can also be coordinated by tax treatment, not just time horizon. A Roth account's tax-free growth tends to make it well-suited for Bucket 3. A taxable brokerage account offers flexibility and potential capital gains management for near-term needs. And pre-tax accounts can serve certain income purposes efficiently depending on the situation. Some retirees find that the bucket structure also gives them a clear framework for responding when markets move. If your portfolio grows meaningfully, you may choose to modestly increase your spending. If markets decline and your portfolio approaches a lower threshold, you have a response already built into your plan. Pause inflation adjustments, trim discretionary spending temporarily, let the other buckets carry you through. You're not reacting to headlines, you're following a process. And that process, more than any single investment decision, is often what provides a steadier sense of confidence, even when markets get choppy. The fourth pattern, accumulating wealth without a clear sense of what it's for. Without intentional planning around legacy and values, wealth can dissipate quickly. 70% of family wealth is gone by the second generation. By the third, that figure climbs to around 90%. That's not primarily a market problem. It's a communication problem. Families that don't talk openly about money, values, and intention leave the next generation without the context to steward what's been built. The conversations that can make a difference aren't just about account balances. They're about the principles behind the plan. What you prioritized, what trade-offs you made, and what you'd want carried forward. From there, structure can follow intention. Trusts, beneficiary designations, and estate documents can ensure that your intentions are carried out clearly, rather than left to interpretation at a moment when clarity matters most. Legacy planning, done well, isn't about maintaining control. It's about giving the people and causes you care about the clearest possible roadmap for what you intended. Wealth built without a clear purpose tends to scatter. Wealth connected to clear intention tends to hold. So let's bring this back to Karen. With her pension, Social Security, and a thoughtful withdrawal strategy, her annual retirement income could reasonably land somewhere in the range of $110,000 to $115,000, potentially more with proactive tax planning. That's a meaningfully different picture than the anxiety she walked in with. But the numbers are only part of what I want her to walk away with. The other part is this. She didn't spend 30 years in healthcare, showing up and doing hard work, so that she could spend retirement staring at a spreadsheet and second-guessing every decision. She built this for a reason. The question is whether her plan gives her the confidence to act on it. Would she finally take that extended trip? Would she put some money toward a grandchild's education? The kind of investment that tends to compound in ways that don't show up on a balance sheet? Would she renovate the home she spent decades in and finally make it feel like the place she always intended it to be? If her plan is built well, the answer to all of those may be yes. What I've found over the years is that the retirees who feel most at ease have the clearest process. A process that tells them how much they can spend, when to adjust, and why their plan still makes sense even when the market doesn't cooperate. When things go well, they enjoy it. When things are difficult, they trust the plan. That's the difference between watching your retirement and living it. The consumption gap is real, and for a lot of people at this level, the gap isn't about a lack of resources, it's about a lack of permission. A thoughtful, flexible plan, one built around your actual income sources and your financial goals, can help close that gap in a meaningful way. If you'd like to take a closer look at what your retirement income could actually support, I'd welcome the conversation. I'll drop a link in the description to schedule a complimentary discovery call with my team at Stonebridge Financial Group. We'll walk through your full picture, pension, Social Security, savings, and goals, and help you understand what's realistically available to you. Please reach out if you have any questions. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.